John? Ken too?
Yeah, treasurer's report, same trends continue. The big spike expense-wise that we see in October was the residual road and paving funds, about $85,000 worth of that. The only other point I want to make that is different this time has to do with accounts receivable. If you look, you'll see that our accounts receivable took a slight downturn this month. At least the trend, the unfavorable trend that we've seen all year long didn't continue. But before we start turning cartwheels about that, we ought to realize that we had about $19,000 worth of write-offs in the month, and most of that was due to foreclosures. So the foreclosure situation is beginning to impact us as an association rather severely up there. 19,000, or as I said, $19,000 worth of write-offs, and we'll probably continue to see that trend prevail. Anybody have any questions on the? Yes, Dave.
Yeah, on the accounts receivable, it looks like it was a 61 to 90 day thing that really dropped. Am I reading this right?
That's right.
So, that, like, quite a bit.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Foreclosures, 61 to 90, that's just kind of.
I was surprised by the same thing.
It's really hard to dig through the accounts receivable
Yeah.
and find out what's really going on without getting in there and looking at each account individually.
Okay.
But yeah, yes, it's certainly there was that contributed a great deal to it. Whether it's all of it or not, it's hard to tell on the surface.
John? Can you look at Schedule A for a moment, please?
Schedule A. Yes.
My favorite schedule.
Yes, it is.
It would appear as though we have not yet captured the donation from the Friends of the Summit.
John and I were talking about that today.
So is it true we have not?
Have not.
Is that because we are having difficulty doing it, or we just haven't done it?
They assured me it would be done, and it hasn't come, so we're gonna follow up and see why it's delayed.
Okay. Action item?
Action on.
Okay. And when we do capture, can we make sure that it's identified as a separate fund, as we have the youth fund, the lake fund, and all those, so that we keep it completely sequestered until we have determined how we're going to spend it? So there's no question of where that money sits.
Correct.
Okay. Pat?
Same page, I think the report should say October versus September.
I think you're right about that.
John, we're still on that same page?
Yes.
The September report shows $2,130.68 in the lake fund. The October report shows $1,630.68. So $500 went somewhere. And, you know, the line items on pages I and M show $2,500 in the lake fund, so.
Okay, let me look into that. I don't have an answer off the top of my head. Where are the inconsistencies, Ken? I will take an action item to resolve that.
Okay, there's a $500 reduction in the
Right.
lake fund.
Right, on
September
Schedule
to
A.
October.
Right.
And then on pages I and M, the lake fund is shown as having $2,500 in it.
All right.
$500 the equivalent of what we awarded in a fishing tournament? Isn't that total prize money in a fishing tournament, $500?
It could be possible.
Yeah, it probably is. I was going to say the fishing tournament, but nonetheless, there should be consistency from one schedule to the next.
I don't mind the inconsistency. What schedule is that?
One is accrual and one is
and
big
M.
cash
Well,
basis.
where are we?
They both show $2,500 in accrual and cash.
But your A report is, that's a cash basis.
Doesn't matter. This is a cash account.
Yeah. That's why it's not an accrual account.
Yeah,
Again, where is the inconsistency, please?
Well, both those schedules show $2,500, but
I'm sorry, which page?
the A page,
Is it scheduled?
Aye.
Aye?
page I, line 4326,
2,500 actual year-to-date.
Yeah, that's an income line.
that's income, yeah.
That's not cash account, that's income.
okay.
So that would be, there's no inconsistency there.
So that would, the differences may be disbursements then.
Yes. The other one, where was the other one that you thought there was an inconsistency, Ken?
Well, the $2,500 shows up on I and M.
Oh, okay, those are income accounts, okay, that's why, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is.
John, could you go to Schedule I for a moment, please?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the first 4 line items, those are our assessment lines,
Correct.
and that's basically where we get all of our, well, most of our money from.
About 80% of our income comes there.
And if you look at the over-under column, year-to-date over-under, every one of those line items is negative. And this is, remembering this is an accrual account.
This is accrual.
So what that says is we are actually invoicing less than budget.
That's right.
Was that a budgeting error last year?
It was a budgeting error. We had anticipated more build-out than actually occurred, so yes. We anticipated that we would be building more.
The only one that can affect is trash.
Well,
The rest of the lines don't change with build-out.
I understand, they shouldn't change, I understand what you're saying, but I think when some of us did it, we made some errors when we did it. It's a budgeting error, I believe.
I guess the only real question, I guess I knew the answer to that question. I was kind of setting up for the real question. And
Okay.
can I assume that that budgeting error is not in the budget for this year, for the next year?
For next year, next year's budget numbers are based upon numbers that were provided by the office. So that's the only answer I'll give you to that.
Okay.
If the office numbers as far as lots in each individual category are correct, then the budget should be correct. The budget is correct.
Ray, you're very confident in the lot counts that we used for the budget? The lots counts we used for the budget last year were clearly an error.
And there's been some errors this year. We've discussed one where we've had a deed that has gone back and forth where we don't know who has ownership of it. That's one example, one thing that could vary. What is an association-owned lot, that one that we discussed earlier?
Okay, so we could have some
There
problems
could
with
still be
the same stuff.
discrepancies. And that being one.
Okay. Not okay, but I understand what you said.